Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose, or you find a way to be out here bugging like Bill Haney, man. What is wrong with this guy, man? And listen, I think it's fun to have characters in boxing who give us entertainment. And Bill Haney is one of those guys, man. You know, there's some things about him I don't agree with, but one thing I'll say is he's entertaining. And he loves his son, Devin Haney, and he's been there with him ever since he was a young guy. He's been dad and son. That's not something you see very often. So I want to make sure I put that out there before I start to talk about him bugging. But now, aside from me thinking that he's done outstanding as a dad and with his son, I think he needs to hold his horses sometimes. But that's just him coming to defense with him, man. He went out here and started attacking Elie Seckbach. Because Elie Seckbach, you know, now this is the thing with this guy, Elie Seckbach, right? He's like he's just like a bad fart that, you know, is in the room and you just can't free breeze that shit out of there. That's what he's like to me. When I watch him out here doing interviews, although he's been at this for a while. That's why that man almost has 1 million subscribers, right? I don't watch his content because I don't watch a lot of the content, but I find that he be talking too much, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes trying to, you know, he's biased, and I just think when you're talking and interviewing fighters, I think you gotta refrain from showing any favoritism, and you know he can't do that. But it depends on who he gets around. You know he'll change up his tune. But because he talks so much, that's one of the things that I notice. I'm like, yo, I can't listen to him. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's kind of what got Elie Seckbach put on Bill Haney's radar. Seckbach went out here and was talking about how Devin Haney's making $6 million for the Regis Prograis fight. And Regis Prograis and Devin Haney are fighting next in December. And then Elie Seckbach came and said, well, that's Gervonta Davis. That's his pocket change. And basically laughing at the fight purse that Devin Haney was going to receive. See, and that's where it comes back to where I'm saying Elie Seckbach talks too much. Because whether you like a person or not, or somebody denied you an interview, you can't come now and get all emotional. Well, I guess you can do what you want, but there are consequences. But to me, I think that's corny to get all emotional and then come back now and decide you want to try to make fun of a person, humiliate a person, embarrass a person because you didn't get what you wanted. I think that's really childlike. Now that being said, Bill Haney saw that. He didn't like it. And he had every right to say something. But where I'm saying I think Bill Haney was bugging a little bit. And for those of you like, what the hell does bugging mean? Because there's a lot of people who watch these videos from around the world. Is where I think he kind of was inappropriate, what Bill Haney was saying. But that's his right. He started calling Elie Seckbach a culture vulture and immediately started, you know, playing to the race thing, right? And that's why I say he's bugging. Like, and everything can't be about race, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just not, let me tell you something. I've had a lot of success in life. And for me to come now with certain situations that I've been in, and to want to believe everything that doesn't happen for a person is because of race. I can't do that. But what I can tell you is if you're consistent and you're more effective than whoever your competition is, right? Not all the time, but most of the time, things should work out. When I say more effective, I'm not talking this. For example, Say you take a test. Someone scores a 93, you score a 95. Nah, that's not what I'm talking about. If you know your back is up against a wall, and you got this guy here scoring, let's say 100s, you better be getting the 100 plus the extra credit, getting the 107, 110s, 111s, right? If you got to go and run a mile and a half, and you know you got this guy who's running a mile and a half at 650, you better run that shit in 545. And it's just what you got to do. So I don't believe in making excuses. I believe in finding a way to win. It's my mentality. It's always been. So when Bill comes out here and starts throwing that little race stuff around, I'm like, all right, Bill, you have to go that route. But he was saying that he felt Elie Seckbach is trying to put two, black fighters against each other and how he's a culture vulture. And I just don't agree with that. Now, I do know that Elie Seckbach he's out of California. He spends a lot of time with a lot of different fighters, man, and it's not just, minorities, man, but when you look at boxing, when you look at the demographic, man, goddamn, majority of boxers are minorities. Now, if he was set up out there in the UK or set up out there in Russia or somewhere like that, I would expect majority of the boxers he interviewed to not look like goddamn Deontay Wilder. Okay? So I just think it's the demographic and his location and who he has access to. He used to have access to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury shot him down. And ever since Tyson Fury shot him down, because Elie Seckbach talks too much, Elie Seckbach has had an agenda against Tyson Fury. And if you're going to be a reporter, you can't do that. You know who has a lot of opinions, but you'll never hear him say it? It's Radio Raheem. Raheem remains neutral. That guy, Marcos Villegas, he remains neutral. That girl, the woman, I don't know her name. She always says, hi, fight fans. I don't know her name, but she remains neutral. There's a lot of, if you're going to be out here doing this, you got to remain, neutral. I mean, us little BS YouTube content creators who aren't looking to interview people, say what you want, but it just so happens that I don't have a favorite fighter, I guess. And if somebody was to act foul towards me, I'd probably say to take him to the stoop and make a video, a comical video about it, but I'm not going to come out here and try to tear him down because at the end of the day, boxing's a tough sport. But when it comes to Bill Haney, he should defend his son. But Elie Seckbach, I could kind of see why a person would kind of feel that about him. But let me tell you something. That man came to this country on a basketball scholarship. You know what I'm saying? So for those who didn't know that, Elie Seckbach just seems like this bad fart in the room. You know what I mean? Like a little weaselish, right? But Elie Seckbach came over to this country on a basketball scholarship, if y'all didn't know that. So that tells you a little bit about him. So obviously he's accustomed to playing basketball. He was playing on the international scale, and he came over here, and I'm sure if you're playing the sport of basketball, depending on what university he got the scholarship to, I would assume it wasn't an all-white team. So I'm not so sure Elie Seckbach is a culture vulture. He got exposed to the sport of boxing. He fell in love with it. It's like me. I grew up playing soccer, played football, and we played basketball, a lot of basketball. And then I came across boxing, and let me tell you something, and never really turned back. There's something about getting in the ring and, getting punched in the face and punching somebody in the face, you know what I'm saying? And the jumping rope and hitting the speed bag and hitting the heavy bag and shadow boxing and that sweat, man, is something about that. Your skin looks and feels different. So I can understand how if he came over here, end up falling in love with a sport like boxing. I don't think he's ever boxed, but just being around it, understanding it, and seeing people train, I can understand how Elie Seckbach decided, hey, this is what I want to do. So I don't fault him for that. But I think he's a little loquacious. He talks too much. He needs to learn to listen more and talk little in regards to about the things that he dislikes about fighters or someone who's done him wrong. Like, you don't need to put that out there, because then guys like Bill Haney, he has a voice, and there are a lot of people who are bandwagonists who are gonna jump on, and next thing you know, everyone's sitting here, man, and trying to what's that thing they call it? They do cancel culture. They try to cancel Elie Seckbach. So I think Elie needs to be careful in how he responds to anyone who's saying something to him about race. He should just say, that's rubbish, leave it as that, or don't say anything. That's my opinion. But as far as Bill Haney, come on, man, quit trying to stir the pot. One day you out here, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, Inshallah. You're not gonna sit there and you're wishing the best for people who wish bad for you, but then you come out the next day want to cuss and carry on using all kind of inappropriate language. I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what he does. Right? I'm telling you facts. Make a decision on what it's gonna be, Bill. You're gonna sit there, man, and walk the straight and narrow and set a right example, or you still gonna go back and become Oakland Bill from the hood? Make a decision looking like the Rougarou. That being said, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.